Rob Carson filling in on News Radio 1120 KMOX. I'm going to use my French. I had a double major in college at Northwest Missouri State. I had communications and, oddly enough, foreign language. The foreign language was French. I never get a chance to use it. Are you ready? Laissez le bon temps rouler. Come on, baby. That's let the good times roll. I know you hear it a lot of the times, but you don't hear it as beautifully as that. Laissez le bon temps rouler. I wish I could be at Mardi Gras in Soulard tomorrow. I really, really do. Unfortunately, I cannot. I have guests, and we are doing other things, but man, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. I got a great story I'm going to share with you in a few minutes. What I think is really funny from KPLR there about the final preparations ahead of Soulard Mardi Gras. This thing has grown, isn't it? It really is a testament to what people in St. Louis can do. This thing started 38 years ago. It is the third largest Mardi Gras in the world, and it brings in more money than the World Series. It's spectacular. I've been there countless times. I went there one time. This was years ago. This is like in the 90s when Tiny Tim was the Grand Marshal of the parade. I don't know how many. I've seen a few Grand Marshals. But, wow, it's going to be cold tomorrow. They say it's going to be, right, it's going to feel like 20 degrees. That's all right. We can let the good times roll still. Just crazy the money. Crazy the money that people make, like just, letting people park in their yard. And the number of beads. I remember a few years ago, I had a buddy, Chris Johnson in St. Louis. And Chris, if you're listening, it's me. Hi, how you doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in a while. And we'd go down to Mardi Gras. We'd end up going to different bars and buying these stupid beads. And we'd buy the really big, expensive ones, the one that had the lights flashing and all this stuff. And we'd end up spending like $60 or $70 on stupid beads. Because guys can't get beads, for free. You know what I'm saying? You guys can't get them for free. So we'd end up buying them. And I remember I came home one time to my wife, and she's like, "What are you thinking, you idiot?" So anyway, welcome to the show. We're going to get to that story about Mardi Gras in Soulard very shortly. Oh, and oddly enough, I'm going to take the Trump administration to task on two things tonight in the first hour. One of them is, if you're going to say you're for states' rights, be consistent. It's not as complicated as things. The Trump administration is perfectly fine, and so am I, with sending to the states transgendered bathroom ordinances. But at the same time, the Trump administration is saying, we're going to really enforce federal marijuana laws while some states have legalized it. So I'm going to take them to task on that. I know, you're surprised. And I'm going to take them to task on banning media from at least one event. Barack Obama did this. When he had his campaign plane in 2008, there were several papers, and I believe Fox News did not endorse him, and they banned him from the plane. And that ain't going to work. It's not going to work. So we'll get to those two things here in a few. I don't know if you know about this, but witches are getting together tonight. Witches are getting together tonight. No, don't go there. I could talk about my wife and her mahjong friends. Witches are out protesting Donald Trump tonight using magic. Men and women from around the world are planning to gather and cast a spell at midnight to stop Donald Trump. Is that Eastern time? I hope it hasn't already passed. So they want to stop Donald Trump from doing harm while also possibly banishing him from office. Mass rituals have been planned in multiple covens, during which men and women will perform a spell to bind President Trump and all those who abet him by delivering a chant and holding a brief ceremony. This is so crazy, because I went to the store today and I could not find Eye of Newt for the life of me. I went in there. It's like when there's going to be a major snowstorm, the bread, the milk, or the toilet paper, and I was like, son of a gun, where is all the Eye of Newt? It's gone. This is not an exclusive witches-only affair. With Wiccans, shamans, heremetists, I don't know what that is, cunning folk. That sounds weird. Sorcerers and sorceresses. Hoodooists, occultists, magicians, ceremonialists. This sounds like Game of Thrones. And ritualists, all invited to urge to take part. They have a new chant, apparently, too, you can see online. All right, so all these people are going to get together. You know what it sounds like? It sounds like a Dungeons and Dragons convention. I am. Among the objects required to complete the spell is an unflattering photo of Trump. I'm not sure if there are any flattering ones. A tiny orange candle. Again, I was at the store. No orange candles, and no I have Newt. A tower tarot card and bowls of water and salt. There also must be a pin, which is used to carve Trump's name in the candle. All right? Once the first step is complete, the aforementioned item should be arranged around a individual in a pleasing position along with a feather. Well, we all know what that's for. A white candle and an ashtray or a dish filled with sand. From there, a prayer for protection should be said by all participants, which they launch to the chant. This sounds like Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so here's the chant. I hope I'm not, because if I support Donald Trump, so I hope this doesn't cause me to be bewitched or whatever. Here it is. They got to say this. I call upon you to bind Donald Trump so that he may fail utterly, that he may do no harm to any soul. Bind them in chains, bind their tongues. Just kidding. It didn't work. Bind their tongues, bind their works, bind their wickedness. Sing the men and women who are at this point are told to take the orange candle and light President's photo on fire. All right. And then the phrase, so mote it be, is repeated 3 times, just like Beetlejuice. And then you apparently blow dust or ashes at the picture of Donald. Okay, that's what's going on tonight. It's like you should know. I'm not sure. Like I said, if it's Eastern time or sometime before that, you may have already missed it. So Wiccans, witches, hobgoblins, whatever, knobgobblers, whatever. It's happening tonight. All right. So coming up, we're going to get into a little bit about Mardi Gras. Again, laissez-les-bons rouler. We're going to argue with the Trump administration on pot legalization and pot law enforcement and banning the press from Trump events. All of that is on the way. Here's the number, guys, if you want to sign on. 314-436-7900, 1-800-925-1120. I am Rob Carson on News Radio 1120, KMOX.
The voice of the St. Louis Blues, KMOX.
Mardi Gras, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say hi to my friend Athen, who is in St. Louis. He's hanging out. I don't know if Athen's down there for Mardi Gras. Probably. Anyway, thanks for listening, my friend. Cool. He's a buddy from Kansas City, actually. So, good to know you're listening, my brother. All right, we've got a lot of stuff to get to on the show, including the whole states' rights thing. All right, we got some states' rights issues, and I don't want to make this sound complicated. It's not that complicated. But basically, the Trump administration is saying that, you know, when it comes to transgendered bathroom rights, leave it up to the states. But when it comes to pot laws, they have an issue with it. All right? So they want to crack down on states that sell pot legally, all right? And they want to leave it up to the states with regard to transgendered bathrooms. Now, I have told you I am a libertarian-leaning conservative, and I am a states' rights guy, generally. That's generally when you're a Republican, and in fact, I know it's why when you're a Republican, you are a states' rights person. That's the way it's supposed to be, because Republicans are states' rights people, and Democrats are federal government, large federal government supporters. That's the way it goes. That's how it rolls, as it were. So I'm having a problem with this juxtaposition of positions, and I'd like to know your thoughts on it. If you are going to support states' rights, why do you have a problem with pot? All right? If you are all about leaving the transgendered bathroom thing up to the states, why will you not let the states handle marijuana? I got a problem with it. And I'm not a pot-smoking guy. We'll get into that in a second. I do want to share the audio from KPLR on the Mardi Gras celebration. And then there's a caveat at the end that I think is really funny. And just because you never know, because it's interesting, because the event is family friendly, but there are other parts not so much. I think I know. You know what I'm talking about, right? But here's the report about Mardi Gras from Fox 2. All right, let's listen to it.
Yeah, the old party hardy, Mike, and let me tell you, we are in the heart of Soulard, the heart of the Mardi Gras party. Behind me is Molly's restaurant right here. They've got the Bud Light booth ready to go.
Yeah.
Out here in the street, you can see Arctic Ice. It's just dropped off bags and bags, the big bags of ice. Across the street, all the folks at 1860, so it appears that everybody is ready for the big party, ready to go. Crews have been busy with the final touches to the 38th annual Mardi Gras. They used more than 3,100 bike racks for crowd control during the grand parade. 1,500 porta potties have been put in place.
Wow.
Everywhere you look, Mardi Gras colors.
By the way, there are never enough porta potties.
Are bright and visible. Organizers say Mardi Gras generates about $23 million for the local economy.
Jeez.
But no one seems worried that the weather is turning from warm to cool to cold.
It brings a lot of energy to the neighborhood, brings a lot of money, circulation of money, brings a lot of money to the city. The taxes that are paid from the money brought in. And
brings a little public urination occasionally, too. I don't know.
And the hotels that are filled. So actually, it's a big boom for the whole city of St. Louis, the whole region.
Here we go.
Well, if you're going to bring the little ones to the parade tomorrow, some advice from folks here. You may want to go to where the parade begins up near Busch Stadium and gather there. They say that's a more family-friendly spot. As you head south on Broadway and 7th, well, it gets a little more wild for the kiddies.
Even if your teenage son is begging you to go to the other end. It's so funny. Oh, I wish I could go. I really do. I'll have to make a point of doing it next year. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this pot legalization. I'm going to also get into a little bit on the media and the Trump administration. And then I also want to talk about off politics. Social media is driving us insane. Hold on a second. I got a text. Oh, wow. Look at that. I'll post that to Facebook. Anyway, social media apparently... Whoa, hello, what's that? No. Social media is making us nuts. We'll get to that very shortly. So, do you have a problem if the Trump administration says, by usurping the Obama administration's order on transgendered bathrooms, all right, maybe you're all rah-rah, cool, yay, leave it up to the states. And I felt that way, too. I felt the same way about gay marriage, to be quite honest. You got a human rights versus civil rights debate here, and that is debatable because there are some civil rights that are being trampled on in the bathroom debate. I don't want to make this confusing. But if you are in favor of that, how do you justify the federal government saying they're going to crack down on marijuana enforcement around the country? I'd like to know your thoughts because I have a problem with it. If Colorado has pot legalization, if Washington State and I believe Oregon, Washington, D.C., I think there might be a couple more. If you have a problem with, well, for instance, like North Carolina, they have a bathroom law, and people were, boycotting North Carolina because they went against the administration. Are you going to do the same thing with states that legalize pot? Or should the government stay the hell out, the federal government stay the hell out of states when they decide something like this is what they want to do? All right? So transgendered bathrooms, leave them alone. Don't cut off funding. The Obama administration was going to target states like North Carolina, take away their school funding if they decided to go against this edict. What about states that allow pot? Is this administration going to go after them? I think they ought to stay the hell out of it, to be quite honest. Once a state makes up its mind. Now, obviously, when it comes to immigration, immigration is a federal issue. That's just the way it is. But your thoughts are welcome at 314-436-7900 or 1-800-925-1120. Does that bother you? Does that juxtaposition bother you? If you are willing to say, okay, the federal government should not make states have transgendered bathrooms. I mean, like they can choose whatever bathroom they want. Are you cool with states then deciding that they're going to sell pot or smoke pot or whatever, and the federal government should stay out of it too? That's. I have a problem with it. You can either make up your mind you want to play, or you want to you want to go against your own ideals. Your thoughts on this are welcome. On the way, do want to get to this Trump banning media organizations, also a push to expand gambling in Missouri and Illinois. And you would not believe how many of us are constantly searching, checking social media, and what it's doing to our mental. Excuse me, I just got a Facebook update. There you go. Let me take a selfie. I'm going to post it to Instagram. Your thoughts on all of this coming up. My name is Rob Carson. You are listening to News Radio 1120 KMOX. Stick around.
Traffic and weather together every 10 minutes. Mornings and afternoons. KMOX.
I need me some crawdaddies. I need me some andouille sausage, some potatoes, some corn on the cob. Les éléments brûlés. Mardi Gras weekend. I'm loving life. Hope you are as well. My name is Rob Carson, filling in on News Radio 1120 KMOX. The phone line's open, 314-436-7900, 1-800-925-1120. You can check out my my website as well. It's Rob Carson Show. All right, Rob Carson Show is that. And they got a lot of stuff there. I am a nationally syndicated comedy writer and do some other stuff. I think you'd enjoy it. Also on Facebook at Rob Carson Show as well. Talk briefly about a push to expand gambling in Missouri and Illinois. Just what they need. Video gaming slots in bars. Yeah, that'll class up the joint. Oh, did you hear about this? Busch Stadium, they want to allow a fan to come up with the next great stadium food item. And I saw this, and I've already actually contributed to. Might try to get your thoughts on that. If you were going to create something to serve at Busch Stadium, what would it be? What would your, because you got to kind of embrace the culture, the area, but also make something that makes you just go, nuts. And I'll share my offerings and maybe, and there's one actually that I think would be the best choice. That isn't even from St. Louis. It's from Springfield, Illinois. If you can tell me what you think that is, I'd like to. There's a food in Springfield that they serve that they're known for, and I think it would be great as stadium food. Even though Springfield, not a big fan. I lived there for a while. So anyway, I had mentioned this earlier. The White House has decided to block multiple reporters from a Sean Spicer briefing. All right. Apparently, the White House blocked most of the media from attending an off-camera briefing on Friday, several hours after the president called some of them fake news. He did that at CPAC again. President's press secretary, Sean Spicer, canceled a planned on-camera briefing, held a private briefing inside of his office that was open to only certain reporters. The ones banned included the dailymail.com, which is my favorite website. Shame on you. And I don't even know why the UK Daily Mail is. This is the UK Daily Mail, right? Because it's my favorite website. I love it. And they are a little left of center, but they also do some conservative stuff. Anyway, New York Times, Politico, CNN, of course. And, of course, the president has called them the Clinton News Network. So out of the meeting, McClatchy, CBS, Washington Times. Oh, no, these were in the meetings. I apologize. McClatchy, CBS, Wall Street Journal, Washington Times, which is a pretty fun little paper. Very, very little paper. Let's see what else. The Washington Examiner, another, small paper, but good. ABC's Cecilia Vargas, probably because she's hot, maybe. I don't know, I'm just saying. NBC's Hallie Jackson, Fox News, John Roberts there, Reuters. The news outlets out of the meeting, dailymail.com. Again, bothers me. New York Times, of course, Politico, Real Clear Politics, CNN, Al Jazeera. I want to meet that guy. Al sounds like just a hell of a good guy. I wonder if he's related to Al Dente. Do you suppose? Anyway, in the New York Daily News. So they were excluded from the media. And Steve Bannon has called the media the opposition party. Now, how do you feel about that? The there were several news outlets when Barack Obama was the president that he excluded from the campaign plane in 2007. And I believe Fox was one of them, and a couple of other outlets that did not endorse him, so they kicked him off the plane. I got to tell you, I don't like this. I don't like playing political games like this when it comes to the press, even if you agree that they are unfair to you. And I don't believe any of these outlets that have been banned have been fair to Donald Trump. It's certainly not CNN. CNN is vitriolic. CNN has an agenda. At the same time, though, excluding people because of what organization they're from, I don't think it's right. Your thoughts are welcome at 314-436-7900. Listen, I don't like CNN. I don't watch them. I don't like watching MSNBC. I'll check it out occasionally, but I don't personally, me as a libertarian leaning conservative, you know what? Put your big girl panties on and you invite those outlets in there. And if you don't want to call on them, you don't call on them. But don't exclude them. Jay's on the line. Jay, welcome to News Radio 1120 KMOX. Your thoughts, my friend?
Yeah, Trump and Spicer and Bannon are all, I don't know, they're out of their minds, and the lies that they tell, and then this war on the press. I don't understand it at all, especially the New York Times. It's a great, great newspaper.
Jay,
I don't follow CNN. It is.
Jay, the New York Times is very, very left of center. It's very, very left of center.
They have great reporters.
Well, they might have some, but they skew things way left. But we disagree on that, Jay. But I do think you and I can come together and say that either, whether it's the Obama administration, whether it's Nixon, whether it's Trump, you invite the press. You cannot pick and choose. I'm sorry. It bothers me. Thanks for the phone call, Jay. God bless you, my brother. Have a glorious Friday night. Yeah. The gray lady. Sorry. The New York Times, you know, I always say when I watch the news and I see somebody very, very, very one way or the other, I said, cross your legs, your bias is showing. The gray lady has been sitting without the legs crossed for a very long time. The bias has been showing for a very long time. Chris in Dayton, Ohio is on the line. Hello there. Hello, Chris. Welcome to News Radio 1120 KMOX. Your thoughts, my friend?
Oh, hey, thanks for having me on. Yeah, so I was listening to your conversation, and I think that you and your listeners need to understand one thing about this press controversy.
Yes.
This was not a press conference. This was a behind-the-closed-doors press gaggle, so to speak, where the president comes and gives background information to a group of selected reporters.
Yeah.
This has been done by presidents from Barack Obama all the way back, and they usually choose favorable media representatives to do it.
Okay.
Obama did it constantly.
Really?
Yeah, this is not. Yeah, for example, I know that. For example, if you're familiar with Fox News, Juan Williams would get invited to the briefings because he had a point of view, but then other journalists from Fox would not.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's not.
I see what you mean.
It's not really the same thing.
Okay, I see what you mean. But what about the press plane with Barack Obama? That's a different thing, right?
Yes, I would agree with you on that. Now that's a different deal. That's where that's where the press is admitted to a public space to pepper the president with questions. It's not an invitation only behind closed doors kind of thing.
All right, my brother. Thank you for calling from Dayton, my friend. I do appreciate it. All right, we're going to get to Chris in a second. Chris is going to talk to us about what he would serve at Busch Stadium. We will talk to him, share some comments from Jake Tapper, and move on to some other stuff on this night before Mardi Gras. My name is Rob Carson. You are listening to News Radio 1120 KMOX.
Cardinals baseball is back Saturday. It's exhibition spring training play as the Cardinals face the Marlins. Ameren pregame show 11:45. First pitch 12 noon. On your voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, KMOX.
Much to get to on the show tonight, including social media driving us nuts. Next hour, we're going to get into a terrific exchange that Tucker Carlson had with somebody about gender identity, and this person did not show up prepared. I'll share some of the audio, and it's pretty fascinating when you think about it, because you got people saying that, I'm a woman, and you have man parts, just a very interesting exchange with regard to the whole, transgendered bathroom thing. I know. We live in just an interesting time, don't we? Don't we? I'm going to get into this Cardinals looking for the next great food item at Busch Stadium. I want to share a little bit of Jake Tapper, because he just went bananas when he heard that some media were not allowed into this closed-door meeting with Sean Spicer. Here's Tapper getting all sorts of bloviating, I should say, a little bit on it. Here he is.
A White House that has had some difficulty telling the truth and that has seemed to have trouble getting up to speed on the basic competent functioning of government. And a president...
What about a network that has problem with the truth? What about a network that didn't say anything about Donna Brazile sharing questions for the debate with Hillary Clinton? Just saying.
Who seems particularly averse to any criticism and has called the press the enemies of the American people. They are taking the next step in attempting to avoid checks and balances and accountability. It's not acceptable. In fact, it's petulant and indicative of a lack of basic understanding of how an adult...
How sanctimonious can we be? Go.
White House functions. In fact, Sean Spicer in December seemed to completely understand this. He said the White House would not ban any media organization as the Trump campaign had. He said, quote, "We have a respect for the press when it comes to the government. That is something you can't ban an entity from, conservative, liberal, or otherwise." I think that's what makes a democracy a democracy.
All right, let's cut to the chase here.
It's just simply not true. So don't misunderstand what's going on with that rhetoric and with today's action banning various media outlets, including CNN and the New York Times.
You know, I think Jake Tapper feels like I did when I was in 6th grade, and I was always the last kid to be picked for dodgeball.
This White House does not seem to respect the idea of accountability. This White House does not seem to value an independent press. There is a word for that line of...
What is that?
The word is un-American.
You know what's un-American? Un-American is having the greatest piece of legislation passed in the history of mankind being the First Amendment and abusing it because of your political bias, Jake Tapper. Okay, let's move on. One more thought on this. We're going to go to Chris talking about media bias. Then we'll go to Chris about everybody. Chris, we've had 3. Is it all Chris night? I'm sorry. Is this the thing we're doing now? Like 2 for Tuesday? It's all Chris Fridays. Chris wants to comment about the media and its liberal bias. Then we'll get to Chris to talk about pork burgers at Busch Stadium. First, Chris on the media bias. Go, Chris.
Yeah, it's the same Chris, Rob.
Oh, it's the same Chris.
Yeah, it's the same Chris.
Not the Chris in Dayton?
No, I'm in Baldwin.
Okay, you're in Baldwin. Baldwin, Chris.
But you might have two.
I swear to God. All right, go ahead. Tell me your thoughts.
Well, my first comment was one of your previous callers. I think that he's obviously for the legalization of marijuana because he's clearly smoking something if he doesn't think our media is liberally biased.
I know, especially the New York Times.
It blows me away how people, you look at them and you talk to them, and for all intents and purposes, they sound reasonably intelligent. Yeah. And then they say something like that, and you just kind of turn your head sideways like a dog that doesn't know what's going on.
Do you suppose he's using a copy of the New York Times as rolling papers?
Probably. My other comment, and I'll let you go. My other comment was the food at Busch Stadium. What I would recommend would be pork burgers. I think they're awesome.
Pork burgers. Now, what about? Okay, I guess I'm not all that big a fan of pork burgers. I mean, what are you talking about? Just using a pork, like a pork shoulder that you grind and then you make it into a burger? What?
Yeah, I think that's what they do, and I don't know exactly what cuts of meat they use, but I know in the Illinois State Fair it's a real big thing with the Pork Producers Association.
Yeah.
And you go to a butcher in St. Louis and ask you to make them some pork burgers, and they look at you like you're from Mars.
Yeah, I know. Hey, can I tell you something, Chris? I'm going to tell you how to mix pork and beef and make you the sickest burger you've ever had in your life. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Next time you smoke some ribs, or next time you smoke some pork butt, and you take that leftover rib meat, pork butt, whatever, you chop it up and you add it to your hamburger. It'll make the sickest burger you've ever had in your life.
I'll bet it would be.
Oh, my brother. All right, so pork burger. You know what, Chris? You're in Illinois.
No, I'm in Baldwin.
You're in Baldwin. That's right. That's right. Yeah. I thought, and I saw somebody suggest on the Busch Stadium Twitter account, they suggested what they serve in Springfield. Now, do you know what Springfield is famous for?
No, I can't say that I do.
It's a thing called a horseshoe. And what it is, it's a bed of French fries with meat on top of it, and then they smother it with this like cheesy béarnaise sauce. And I thought that would be spectacular. It's like it's like poutine that they serve in Canada. I thought it would be a great thing. If you're going through Springfield and your car breaks down, because that's the only reason you want to go there, go somewhere and get a horseshoe. They're ridiculously good.
Sounds like another bellyache, which would fit right in with the ballpark.
All right, dude. Thanks for calling, my friend. I do appreciate you listening tonight. It's really cool.
My pleasure. Like your show, Rob. Take care.
Thank you, buddy. I do appreciate that. Tell Steve Moore. Steve might be listening right now. They are looking for a new food at Busch Stadium. Here, by the way, is the story from KPLR.
Wednesday afternoon, inside Busch Stadium, Norman Taylor was taking in the sight and smell of new grass on the field.
The Winter Classic was a once-in-a-lifetime event here. It was a great experience, but this is baseball, and I'm ready for green grass, and I'm glad we have it back out there.
Yeah,
as the grounds crew prep for the season opener, Taylor and the staff of chefs inside the ballpark are trying to launch the next big food item at Busch Stadium this season.
Fan Food Challenge, which is running currently now through March 3rd. What we want to get all of the great ideas from the Cardinals fan base to find out who can come up with the most unique item for Busch Stadium.
Okay. Now, if you go to the Twitter account for the stadium, you can submit your ideas, and there's a lot of them. I submitted 2. I'll tell you right now. One of them is a smoked pulled pork nachos. Okay, and then the other one was a roasted Asian pulled pork soft tacos. Those are the ones that I submitted. Jim has one more comment before we go to the top of the hour break. Jim, welcome to News Radio 1120 KMOX. Your thoughts, my friend?
Oh, hello. Am I on the air?
You are on the air, my friend. Go.
Hey, I want to comment on, I think there's an obscuring of the difference between what used to be hard news, just reporting a story, and the news analysis, which is, describing your opinions.
Yeah.
And I think as it relates to what Jake Tapper said about checks and balances, I've always looked at that as the checks and balances were designed in the government, and the press is meant to report, if you would, on the conversation that happens in the government, but they're not meant to be part of the conversation or to try to guide the conversation.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the press has never been non-biased. I'm sorry. It just never has happened. It's not right. Humans are inherently biased. I just wish they'd admit it. Thanks for the call. All right, my name is Rob Carson. Hour number 2 of the radio program tonight on the way. Check out my website if you get a chance over the break, robcarsonshow.com. You're listening to News Radio 1120, KMOX.